The honeymoon period for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle was short-lived. Soon after their wedding, rumors of infighting, power struggles, and major fights behind the scenes were starting to swirl in the media. Rumblings of a difficult duchess started to spread like wildfire, which led to separation and dissolvement of past joint charities and the moving of households. This sparked major speculation that all was not well and that the royals were at odds with one another. In today's video, we'll break down and discuss the 10 red flags after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding that predicted disaster ahead and foreshadowed Megxit. You guys, we have a lot of juicy royal daily tea to get through today, so you know what to do. Sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get into the royal daily tea. So you guys know that I have partnered with Analucia Diamonds. Analucia Diamonds is a luxury brand of lab-created diamonds that is ethically sourced to provide affordable luxury, eco-friendly elegance, and making responsible choices without compromising on your style. You can use my code RDT20 to receive 20% off your next purchase. But you guys, Analucia Diamonds has just launched a brand new revolutionary jewelry cleaner that looks like a piece of art. The bottle is a radiant cut diamond shape glass. It comes with an all-in-one liquid solution that is safe for all of your gemstones, silver, gold, even gold-plated jewelry. Now, the solution is an all-natural, biodegradable, non-toxic, alcohol-free solution, and it comes with a lovely rose water scent. Now, the bottle itself looks like a piece of art. You can display it on your dresser. The kit comes with a levitating stand and creates a floating diamond effect. You get the radiant bottle and a luxury brush with 1,000 bristles, as well as a magic cloth to instantly add shine to your jewelry. Now, if you would like to take advantage and receive 20% off this brand new jewelry cleaner, you can use my code RDT20. Everything will be linked for you down below, and be sure to enter the sweepstakes to win a half-carat diamond solitaire necklace valued at $500. The winner will be announced on November 17th. Now let's get into today's video. So one of the very first red flags was the dissolvement of joint charities and the birth of Sussex Royal. If you remember, for many, many years, Prince Harry worked alongside Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, doing the Royal Foundation and Heads together. But when Meghan Markle came on the scene, she thought they were doing it all wrong and they needed to follow her lead. After all, she played Rachel Zane on Suits, and she did a couple of fake philanthropy charities, so obviously she was an expert. And William had to tell her, slow your roll. We're not reinventing the wheel here. And as a royal, they get involved to a certain level. But Meghan wanted to push the envelope and come in like a bull in a china shop, trying to change everything to the way she thought it should be done. So obviously this did not go over very well, and news came out that they were splitting their charities and that Harry and Meghan would no longer be on the Royal Foundation, and they pretty much were starting to split their households, and the birth of Sussex Royal happened. But you know, Meghan Markle, the owner of the TIG, the influencer that she thought that she was, wanted to have control over her own social media, so they came out with Sussex Royal, their whole website. They came out with a brand new logo and their own social media so she could start competing against William and Catherine. Again, Meghan is not a team player, and that was a huge red flag and kind of a shock to a lot of people that they were starting to split up the patronages and were no longer working together. The second major red flag was the moving of households. Now, originally, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were going to be neighbors with Prince William and Catherine living over there at Kensington Palace, but instead, they decided that they did not want to live across the way from Prince William and Catherine. Instead, they shucked it over to Frogmore Cottage. Now, originally, Meghan Markle thought in her little bird brain that she was actually going to shack up with the Queen in Windsor Castle. Yeah, she thought she was going to live in the castle with the Queen. And the Queen was like, nah, sis, I don't need a roommate, but you could go over to Frogmore Cottage. Now, Meghan originally thought she was getting Frogmore House, which is huge. But then she found out she was actually going to the right, getting a little cottage. Now, again, Frogmore Cottage is actually very nice. It's actually pretty large, has 5 bedrooms. It's a lot better than Notcott. And of course, that's where they did their very expensive $2 million renovation, which I believe King Charles ended up having to pay for. But that's just a rumor. But again, the fact that they were splitting households and they weren't going to be living at Kensington Palace across the way from William and Catherine, where Prince Harry was currently living very close by. He liked to go by their house. He got to see his nieces and nephews. But now there was major rumors that there was obviously a problem. First, you have the splitting of the charities. Now you're moving all the way over to Windsor, away from William and Catherine. That was a huge red flag that there was trouble behind the scenes. So the third red flag was when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle decided to announce that they were expecting during Princess Eugenie's wedding. Talk about an arse. What an arse move to make, trying to upstage his cousin on her special day. Unlike Megxit Markle, this was her first wedding. You know, Meghan had 2 or 3 or 4, how many weddings she's had. But this was Eugenie's first wedding. It was her big day. You would think you would have enough manners and class to wait until the following week. Now, Fergie was absolutely livid that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stole her daughter's thunder. Now, I believe that Eugenie was married on a Friday, and Kensington Palace officially announced they were expecting the following Monday, right when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle started their Australian tour. Fergie was so upset she completely ignored the announcement, instead talked about her daughter and her beautiful wedding and what a lovely bride she was and how proud she was of her own daughter. Let's just say Fergie didn't give 2 shites that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were expecting. And I don't blame her. That was a bad move. That was rude, arrogant, and it showed you that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry only care about themselves. So Princess Eugenie got upstaged on her big day by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle trying to steal her thunder with the pregnancy announcement. And this was the birth of the coat flick, the infamous coat flick where Meghan started showing off her bump. So red flag number 4 was when Meghan Markle decided to go against royal protocol when it came to delivering her baby. Meghan Markle decided she did not want to use the Queen's gynecologist. Instead, she wanted to have her own doctor. She didn't want men in suits in the delivery room. Instead, she wanted a female doctor. Now, we understand maybe she wanted a female, but these are the royal gynecologists, Alan Farthing and Guy Thorpe Beeston, the best of the best, who were there while Catherine delivered all 3 of her children. However, Meghan felt like she needed a different path and a different set of doctors. Now, all of the other women in the royal family have gone through the royal household gynecologists, the royal doctors. But again, Meghan kind of started the whole smoke and mirrors with going against tradition and choosing different doctors. So this is where people kind of started to question why. Why did Meghan go against royal protocol? Why did she refuse the royal doctors that every other woman had used? And why did she choose a different hospital? Then we have the question of she wouldn't stand on the steps after she gave birth like all of the other royal women before her. Again, the whole smoke and mirrors and the weirdness of her pregnancy started when she went against royal tradition and chose her own doctors. So red flag number 5, one of the biggest red flags was Bumpgate. This is where we got the infamous coat flick and the thrusting of her baby bump, where she liked to tell everyone, I'm pregnant, look at the bump, look at the bump, I'm pregnant, I'm a mom, look at the bump. It was like overkill. So in my opinion, I felt like she was acting, trying to overly convince people, I'm pregnant, I'm with child, I am Mother Earth, look at me, I'm a woman, I'm She-Ra, look at the bump. And the problem was, Meghan, we all did. We all started to look at your bump, your ever-changing, moving, not normal looking bump. In my opinion, if Meghan would have just been like a normal person, it didn't constantly do the coat flick and the bump thrusting and the holding of her bump, people would not have paid as much attention to her bump as they did. But unfortunately, she thrust this upon us. Then we all started noticing that her bump was a little strange. It was high, it was low, it was round, it was square, it would inflate and deflate. It would get large, it would get small, it would get high, it would get low, and it would move to and fro. This woman was a superhero that she was able to wear 5-inch heels and close her legs and bend down at 8 months pregnant. Again, she must have been superwoman because she was doing things that normal pregnant women could not do. In my opinion, there were several times it literally looked like Meghan Markle took a throw pillow off someone's sofa and shoved it under her dress. I'm not kidding. It looked like a square throw pillow. There were other times her bump was too perfect, too symmetrical, and the belly button was too perfectly aligned in the center. Again, most pregnant women carry their babies either really high or really low, but Meghan's was just right there, perfect, and it popped out immediately. Most women don't even show until the 5th, 6th month. Meghan showed the minute after they made the announcement that she was pregnant in Australia, and she made sure to thrust out her little baby bump for the money shot. Get the money shot, guys, I'm pregnant. So in my opinion, that was another thing. The weird thing with the doctors, the announcement during Eugenie's wedding, and then constantly ever-changing bump. I've never in my life seen a woman obsessed with her bump or trying to convince people she was pregnant as much as Meghan Markle did. And this, in my opinion, is what started the whole Bumpgate situation, was the fact that Meghan oversold her pregnancy, in my opinion. Again, a lot of people would not have paid that much attention, but Meghan was constantly thrusting her baby bump in our faces. And that is when people started looking at it closely and realizing there was something extremely odd about her bump. So red flag number 6 was the birth of Archie. Now that was a complete circus. There was a lot of miscommunications and no one seemed to really know what was going on with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, especially the palace. They seemed to be left in the dark. So not only did Meghan have an extremely weird pregnancy with a movable baby bump that she was constantly coat flicking and sticking out for everyone to see, then she decided not to use the royal doctors. Again, that's another red flag. And then it was announced that she was going to have her baby at Portland Hospital instead of the same hospital where Catherine, the Princess of Wales, had delivered all of her children, which was the Lindo wing at St. Mary's Hospital. But then the day of Archie's birth came and there was a lot of confusion. Was she in labor or did she already give birth? Now, of course, there was this little tweet that went around. People are speculating if it's actually true, but I seriously remember this in the back of my head where there was a tweet that went out by supposedly Kensington Palace that said this public announcement, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex use the services of a surrogate. We apologize for any misunderstanding. Again, a lot of people were confused about the time and the date and when and where Meghan delivered Prince Archie. Now, for one, I remember the tweet, but I don't think it's a real tweet. First of all, the grammar is atrocious. They didn't even capitalize the W. You would think someone who worked for the royal palaces, if you're going to send out an official tweet, you would also put a period at the end of misunderstanding. So to me, it does look like it could possibly be a fake tweet, but it doesn't stop there with the strangeness. A lot of people are confused. Archie's birth certificate was never signed. There was no official doctor. People still don't know who her doctor was. We don't know if it was an actual home birth that they pretended it was done at the hospital. Then we have Harry's really weird story of recounting the birth, how they went there, she got an epidural, she ate a full meal, she went in a pool, and they were back home within 2 hours. Anyone who's had a baby can tell you none of that makes sense. He also talked about taking all the laughing gas while Meghan was giving birth. So was it an epidural? Was it laughing gas? Was she in a pool? And how did she get home within 2 hours? So there's a lot of questions. Another theory is that Portland Hospital has a huge surrogacy wing. So is this why she chose Portland over St. Mary's Hospital, due to the surrogacy? And Meghan didn't pose on the steps at Portland Hospital after she gave birth like most royal women do. So they decided 2 days later to showcase Prince Archie over at Windsor Castle. Again, everything with Harry and Meghan and their birth is a lot of smoke and mirrors. Nothing adds up. 1 and 1 equal 100 when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Royal flag number 7. Nobody asked about me. This is my favorite. Nobody asked if I'm okay. This is when Meghan Markle sat there with her little duck face and she was all sad for the cameras. Look at me, I'm struggling, to Tom Bradby. Now, she was asked this, saying that she was having a hard time, that she was struggling, that not many people have asked if I'm okay, that the amount of attention she received being pregnant with a newborn and as a newlywed was really, really hard. Now, this was during an ITV documentary that they were filming called Harry and Meghan, An African Journey. Now, what you have to understand is during this documentary, Harry and Meghan visited women who had major atrocities happen to them and their families. Whole families were murdered, were tortured, women were raped. They were living in extreme poverty and fear for their lives. But Meghan wanted to make sure that everyone knew she was struggling with tabloid attention, that it was on the same level apparently as these women. Now, during the filming, Tom Bradby, asked her, "How are you doing?" And she's like, "Look, any woman, especially when they are pregnant, you're really vulnerable. So that was made really challenging. And then when you have a newborn, and especially as a woman, it's a lot." Now, let's break this down, Meghan. You are a royal duchess who lives in 1% privilege. You have an entire staff of cooks, maids, nannies, assistants, drivers. security guards, and you live in a multi-million-dollar mansion. Not to mention you have clean food and water and access to the best medical care, and you do not live in fear for your life every single day like all of the women you just encountered that afternoon. But instead of focusing on these women and being grateful for everything that you have, you're literally whining. Nobody asked how I'm doing. I'm struggling because the tabloids are paying a lot of attention to me. I guarantee you, every single one of those African women in that village, probably the next 10 villages over, would happily trade places with you in a heartbeat. Now, can you just imagine Princess Diana when she was out doing her charity work, visiting people who had leprosy, people who had lost limbs, people who were battling HIV, people who were in war-torn countries, landmine victims. And then she says to the camera, but nobody asked about me. You know, I'm having marital problems and I have an eating disorder. I came from a broken home. I'm having a bad day. Can we focus on me today? No, because Princess Diana would never do that. She realized she was a very privileged person. When you come across someone who is worse off in life than you, I feel guilty about complaining about my life. I become grateful for everything that I have, but apparently that didn't happen for Meghan Markle. She is not grateful for everything that she has. All this woman does is whine and complain, never grateful for anything that she has. Red flag number 8 was Meghan Markle and Queen Elizabeth's joint appearance in Chester. Now, back in June of 2018, Meghan Markle and the Queen did a joint appearance in Chester, which was a complete disaster. First off, Meghan was a hot mess. Meghan's hair was flying all over the place. She looked unkempt. It is reported that the Queen had suggested that Meghan Markle wear her hair up, which Meghan refused. Again, Meghan Markle does not take direction well. Then we had the incident where Meghan Markle walks directly in front of the Queen when she went to the crowd to collect flowers. Again, that is a major protocol break. You never, ever, ever walk in front of the Queen. Now, whether it was an accident or not, it should have never happened, because Meghan Markle, as I've mentioned before, never wanted to learn the rules. She didn't even learn how to curtsy. She didn't know the national anthem. And she certainly was not taken to Duchess training the way that Catherine and Sophie had done. Meghan Markle felt that she knew everything and she didn't need anybody's assistance. After all, she had Harry. So you can tell this was the one and only time that the Queen and Meghan jointly did an event together. Meghan only did 72 working engagements in her whole 18 months with the royal family. And in my opinion, Meghan looked completely out of place. And I feel extremely bad for all of her royal helpers who were there to help her, because Meghan does not take direction. And again, I think the Queen was dismayed by Meghan's appearance and by the lack of protocol and manners that Meghan had. It was really, really obvious that Meghan looked like a duck out of water. But in my opinion, it just went to foreshadow how Meghan did not take to royal life. She had no interest in learning the correct way to do things. And again, this was a major faux pas, walking in front of the Queen. Red flag number 9 was Meghan Markle constantly pushing in front of Prince Harry and ignoring royal protocol. Now, we all know that Meghan thinks that she's She-Ra, the ultra-feminist royal who's going to modernize the royal family. She was constantly pushing herself in front of Prince Harry. She could not stand to be behind him. She felt it was an insult as a woman. Now, royal protocol states that the blood royal always goes first. And in some cultures, they do refer to the men, especially in the Middle East. But that doesn't matter to Megxit Markle. She always needs to be the center of attention and she needs to go in front of Harry. I just cannot believe how he never took her aside and corrected her and told her to stop. But again, Meghan Markle didn't care about protocol and royal tradition. She wanted to do what Meghan wanted to do. Meghan was constantly pushing herself either in front of Harry, or she would do that little tap where she would have Harry step aside and then Meghan would enter first. There were many, many instances where Harry would be having a conversation with people and Meghan would literally bust into the middle and interrupt his conversation and take over the conversation. I just can't imagine how embarrassing that was for Prince Harry. She totally demasculated the man. Why did he never correct her? So again, she did this over and over and over again during their whole 72 working engagements. So to me, it was a big red flag that Meghan Markle wore the pants in that relationship. She had no respect, no manners, and oftentimes she humiliated Prince Harry. So that was always an icky red flag to me. And again, 6 years into their marriage, she's still double clawing, constantly pushing and leading Prince Harry around like he's a small child. So red flag number 10 was their Megxit announcement, when Harry and Meghan told the entire world that they were stepping back as working royals, but they were going to continue to serve the Queen and the Commonwealth, pretty much telling the royal family how it was going to go. But again, the royal family told them, no, you can't be half in and half out. But it was a little weird how Meghan and Harry made that huge public announcement, thinking in their little bird brain that they were still going to represent the Commonwealth, that the royal family was going to let them come over and do royal duties and attend state events wearing tiaras and representing the Queen whenever they felt it was necessary. In my opinion, that was a huge red flag because Harry and Meghan clearly didn't understand you can't be half in and half out rule. That once they walked away from being working royals and started accepting money from Netflix and Spotify, they couldn't be working royals and get paychecks at the same time. Meghan would say, well, Fergie did it. Fergie did it, but Fergie was not a working royal. It was after she was divorced from Prince Andrew and she had racked up huge bills and had a bankruptcy and she had to pay back those creditors. So she had to go to work and she started doing Weight Watchers and that China company that she did. She started writing all of her books, which a lot of those proceeds actually go to her charities. But I have to say, Fergie paid every cent back that she owed. Again, she was divorced and she was not a working royal. Meghan at the time was married to number 5 in line to the throne and was a working royal. You can't have a Netflix deal and be on the cover of Vogue and be modeling and running around acting in Hollywood and be a working royal. You either are one or the other. Now, of course, that they've had Megxit, she's off in Hollywood, still trying to push around the royal title. Again, this woman is dense. But in my opinion, that was a huge red flag when she was trying to monetize Sussex Royal. Again, she thought she was an influencer royal, trying to bring in her celebrity life into royal life, and it was never going to work. So what do y'all think about these 10 red flags that indicated that married life with Meghan Markle wasn't going well within the royal family, and that ultimately it would lead to Megxit? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please be sure to enter my sweepstakes so you can win a beautiful half-carat lab-created diamond solitaire necklace from Analucia Diamonds. As always, thank you for being here, and I hope to see y'all in the next video. Bye, guys.